I wanted the Ravens to get a wide receiver, lots of depth in free agency. Get yourself a Galladay, get yourself a Juju Smith-Schuster, and they did do a deal with Sammy Watkins, who I love. But I've been one of those people saying I want them to help what they've been struggling with, which is the passing game, finishing the 2020 season ranked last in the league in receptions. Yesterday, General Manager Eric DeCosta was asked if he thinks the team needs to make upgrades to their receiving core. Take a look.
Insulting to these guys when they hear that we don't have any receivers. It's quite insulting. I'm insulted by it too, to be honest. So I think we've got some guys that want to show everybody what they can do. We love our team. We love our roster. We've got a lot of really good young football players who care very badly about it. But I think we've had a lot of good receivers here over the years that have won big games for us. And I know this. I think Lamar likes our receivers. You know, I think our coaches like our receivers. I think the teammates, the guys in this team, like our receivers. And that's my answer to that question.
Woo, nice.
Spicy. Time for a game of believe it or
like
not.
That.
Thank you. You just heard, yeah, that's GM Eric DeCosta saying he is insulted hearing people criticize the wide receivers, or lack thereof, on his roster. Believe it or not, the Ravens do not have an issue at wideout, Nate.
I don't believe they do. I know you can sit and look at the stats and say, well, Nate, look at the receptions in 2020, last in the league. You know, you look at the pass attempts in 2020, last in the league. I get that. If you look at the touchdowns, 17, that's middle of the pack. Let's look at the list of guys. Marquise Brown, he's the speedster. They bring in the vet, Sammy Watkins. You got Boykin, Duvernay. You got
I don't see any stars on that list.
I know you don't see stars, but I don't think you necessarily need stars. On top of that, their tight ends are also receivers in this offense. And here's the thing, when you have Lamar Jackson, who with his skill set is one of the best running backs in football, and don't get it twisted, that's not disrespect to Lamar Jackson. I'm just saying, over the last couple of seasons, you can look at his numbers rushing on the ground. He's one of the best running backs in all of football. So if his rush attempts are up, the pass attempts will consequently be down. So I don't need people sitting there saying, well, what are they going to do about the passing game? Let's just compare numbers. Over the last 2 seasons, Lamar Jackson and Patrick Mahomes' numbers are comparable. I'm talking about touchdowns and interceptions. So there isn't a problem with the pass game. There's a problem with calling the passes when they need them.
Okay.
I said this when Lamar first took the job and played in the playoffs. I said, open up the damn offense because you're using him as a running back. You guys need to be passing more. I'll say the same thing going into 2021. Open up the offense even more. The question isn't do they have the wide receivers, it's can they call better plays.
The numbers that compare with Mahomes and Lamar are title games. 3-0. Like, they're fine players. I do really do. And I like that DeCosta's pissed, because this is kind of a pissed off time of year for talent evaluators, because they're hearing how to do their job. But their guys are good. They're not great. They don't have any great star-making wide receivers. And I think it is unfair to look at some of the stats because of their style of play. They just don't run up the raw numbers. But let's look at some other ones, because I think there's some key things here that talk about the talent of the wide receivers, all right? This is where they rank last year. I want you to especially look at the bottom. Yards after catch, yards per reception. That has nothing to do with system. That has to do with talent and playmaking ability. I don't care how many times you run it. Guys break tackles and make big plays. The Ravens guys have not done it. So they have good enough receivers, yes, to maybe go to the divisional round, maybe go to the wild card round. To go to the title game, like where they belong, to go to the Super Bowl, I do think they need an upgrade in talent. I don't think it's enough. I understand why he's pissed off, but those are called receipts right there. And if you don't get a new wideout, I think they're going to be 1 or 2 and done in the playoffs again. They're just, that's the nature of it.
I just, even if they brought in a Julio Jones or, you know, a DeAndre Hopkins, I'm not sure the way they operate their offense, they would utilize that individual to get the most out of it. Like, they are a run team, and that is what they do. And I think that the wide receiver position is just not as valued in that offense as it might be in others. They love blocking wide receivers. Boykin's one of the best, and obviously we see what they get out of those tight ends, especially Boyle. Like, those are blockers. I'm fascinated to see what they do in the draft, because they have the end of the first round. There will be wide receivers there. If they don't take a wide receiver there, it tells you something. That's just not a position we're extremely high, necessary need on right now. I also think that way he handled that press conference, that was a message, not to us in the media, and not to the people in Baltimore. That's a message to the other wide receivers. I got your back. That's me taking...
You're our guys.
We got you. So, like...
Was it that, or was it, you guys got to make some plays?
Also might be a little...
Right? Like,
it was just a message. It was acknowledging that what's being said, we hear it, we internalize it, and now it's on you guys, the players, to execute. But I think it's as much to Greg Roman's offense as it is to the lack of skill on some of those wide receivers. I mean, if they don't take a wide out in the first couple of rounds, it tells you, hey, we're a running team. That's what we are.
Peter, you make a good point, though, about this offense being a run team. during the offseason, we had free agency, and everybody was saying, well, they got to get a wide receiver. I mean, Kenny Golladay and Juju Smith-Schuster, Marvin Jones, there's fast guys and veterans that they get some. There might be something to the fact that wide receivers, there could be money too, but it could be wide receivers saying, I want to be productive. I'm talking about numbers-wise, somewhere else that passes the ball more instead of being a wide receiver who blocks just as much as he catches the rock.
But in the draft,
you know?
That's where you're not having to pay a big price tag. I mean, Mark, to your point about the playoffs, like if I'm a Ravens fan, I'm just like, what can we do to take that next leap? We have the talent. We have this centerpiece, this exciting MVP in the league. Marquise Brown had a nice year. He had 8 touchdowns, over 700 yards. In the playoffs, no other wide receiver had more than 34 yards combined in their playoff stint. That's crazy. And that's just, to me, that doesn't cut it.
If you're not going to use your wide receivers, if you're not going to use, let me ask you this, if you're not going to use your wide receivers as much as any other passing team in the league, do you still draft one?
Maybe
or
not.
do you address another position?
I mean, they needed pass rush help. They got rid of Judon and Ngakoue, so they've got definitely have more holes. I just wish they had taken a wide receiver, and I hope they address it further in the draft, which clearly they maybe aren't, maybe they are, but messages being sent from DaCosta, so we love seeing that here on the show. Okay, one more, guys. Teams are preparing for the 2021 NFL Draft by getting their draft rooms set up. Of course, check this out. The Rams released these photos of their draft house set up in Malibu. Believe it or not, the Rams will have the best draft locale in the entire league.
What's going on? What's going on?
I do not believe this is the best locale. I think it's the worst locale. I hate this locale.
You do?
As an NFL draft purist, I want to see drab walls and blank windows with nothing. Like I've done fantasy football drafts in August. You know what happens?
Go on.
What?
Second round, third round rolls around.
Who cares?
I'll take, what's the center from Oklahoma? He was taken 2 rounds ago. What about the one from Tulsa? Is he there? He's there. Yeah, we'll take the Tulsa center. Now pass another one over here. This is how this is going to go. Rams are going to bomb this draft. You cannot have that be the setup for the draft. I need focus. You cannot have the Malibu sunsets. Rams, F on their draft grade already.
F already?
F.
All right. F. Peter, are they going to be the first team in the modern era to be auto-drafted?
That's it. Like, I don't want to
go to auto because they get skipped?
Send over that noodle. I'm gonna go lie on the noodle.
I picture Les Snead wearing one of those backpacks with like the Mai Tai dispenser. Who needs a freshen up? However, it's gonna be the best draft location. I disagree, Peter, this year. I am already watching, I already have a big board. The 2022 draft location for the Arizona Cardinals will be in response to this, because make no mistake, this is in response to Cliff last year. This is a proportionate response. It's a term they use in nuclear warfare. If you're going to launch this scud, we're coming back with ours. So I'm already putting the Cardinals, Mr. Bidwell, and Coach Kingsbury on the clock for 2020.
It's not too late. It's not too late for 2021.
They might have to trick up their sleeve already. But I mean, like, short of Cliff making the picks, getting fed grapes, I don't know how you possibly beat this.
There's some available properties in Scottsdale.
That's true.
Airbnb is alive right now.
What do we got, 9 days?
Where was golfing with the mascot in this? Come on.
No, never mind Airbnb. Purchase. Zillow gone wild. I need Zillow erotica.
Randy Moss, straight cash home.
They're dunking on you, yes.
Hey, listen, Strakes.
First, they got what is that? What is that animal?
A ram.
Actual ram walking.
I thought it was a Shetland pony.
They're discussing which running back's good in the 4th round. No.
This will be an A+ draft for the Rams because they're going to be in their zone. Have you ever been at a location and just the vibe, the energy? Strakes, we ran into each other a couple times in L.A., a couple late nights. We'll talk about it during the commercial break.
Before Good Morning Football days.
There's something about the energy in L.A. And yeah, there might be some noodles. If it's on nude, there could be some skinny dip in there. That is one of Malibu's most wanted real estate properties. So in the words of Jamie Kennedy, don't be hating.
Jamie Kennedy.
Okay. Malibu's most wanted.
Is your draft setup going to be better than that?
Mine is going to be just 4 blank walls, couple monitors, like Bloomberg screens, and I'm going to make the right picks, okay? No, I am so out on the rent.
Peter, you're going to have what are those called, an OnlyFans account? That's where you're going to be drafting from. So I'm going to get
What? Okay. Peter, time
$1 million on it.
2 points.